Introducing a whole new form of racing to the best online racing simulation in the world. This is Dirt Racing on iRacing.com. Race online at some of America's most legendary dirt tracks, including Eldora and Williams Grove. iRacing is the premier online racing game featuring NASCAR, IndyCar, sports cars, and now World of Outlaws, the leading sanctioning body for dirt racing. iRacing is easy to use and features a centralized ranking system to make sure you have the best experience at any skill level. With a massive inventory of high-precision laser scan tracks and cars with an unmatched dedication to quality and detail, iRacing gives you the most authentic online racing experience available. Thanks to iRacing's dynamic track system, developed specifically for dirt racing, tracks change over the course of a race, just like your favorite dirt track on a Friday or Saturday night. From a slick racing groove all the way up to the cushion, iRacing's dirt tracks deliver non-stop racing action. Partnered with the World of Outlaws, iRacing is your source for the most authentic dirt racing experience available, featuring 4 brand new tracks and 11 new cars, including street stocks, Legends cars, late models, NASCAR trucks, winged and non-winged sprint cars, with much more on the way. Join the Dirt Revolution on iRacing.com and start slinging mud today.
Hi guys, I'm Scott Speed, driver of this amazing Volkswagen Beetle GRC car. I got good news for the iRacing fam. We got this coming in. I'm currently working on it myself personally to make sure that it is as accurate as possible. With the addition of dirt and now this mean car, it is gonna be so fun. And it's gonna be available free to all the iRacing members. Personally, I can't wait to get out there and race you guys on it.
When I sat in the car, you always wonder, what's it going to feel like? It was my first time driving a mid-engine GT car. My thoughts were, wow, this is really good for our first time in a car. I was really surprised by it. You're sitting low, you got the A-pillars at steep angles, the windshield's at steep angles, you can see the fender flares. I think we have a chance to win. Everything's got to go right, but I think we have a car that can win the race or be on the podium. But can you imagine how cool that would be to go back 50 years later to the year and do it?
Welcome one and all to V8's Online's live broadcast of the Porsche Carrera Cup Australia Championship presented by Sim Racing Bay. Round 7 at Lime Rock Park is go. My name is Reese Gardner and joining me in the commentary box is Jay Kennedy. Jay, it's time for that weekly or so get-together of ours where we watch some Porsche Carrera Cup racing.
Yeah, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us here at V8's Online. I love Sundays, whether it's for Shops or EMR Super Cup or Porsche Carrera Cup Australia. I absolutely love my Sundays on V8's Online because the racing is always good, action is always hot, and tonight is going to be no different to any other night. We have a pretty cool format tonight. The guys are about to start a 30-minute qualifying session, then we'll have a little break and we'll have an inverted top 10 for our first race tonight here at Lime Rock Park. What a track this is. Going to be action-packed for night race.
Yeah, certainly is a very cool track greeting the drivers tonight as they file out of pit lane. 23 degrees Celsius air and track temperature, and it's pretty overcast, so everything's looking pretty grey out there tonight, but the cars are going out of pit lane for their outlap, which is going to be an incredibly short outlap around this circuit. Lap times here are around 50 seconds on average in these Porsches, so it's going to be pretty traffic heavy.
It's going to be tough to get a lap in. You want to make sure you get it in early, but if you go too hard, you're going to get the back markers who are just getting out of the pits to start their flying laps while you're starting yours, as Alex Greenwood's flying away very, very quickly to try and get his first lap in straight away.
Yeah, certainly, even going off track out of the final corner, which is a very easy thing to do. But over the start-finish line he goes into Big Bend, first corner on this track. Very fast entry, but it tightens up in the second portion, and you got to get your car right back over to the right-hand side of the circuit for this left-hander. The only left-hander of any significance on the circuit, really. It's Lime Rock's very much a right-hand turn oval in most respects. A little bit of a meandering back straight here, and then they come to the leap. Fantastic piece of racetrack. The car goes a little bit airborne over that rise, and then we've got two fast left-handers to end the lap here. Keeping it nice and easy coming into the final turn. Just kissing the curbs on the apex and the exit. What is that going to do for Alex Greenwood? That's going to be a 50.786. He goes to pole so far, but he's immediately beaten by Bo Albert and Stuart Hall.
Times are just shuffling down very quickly. Great lap by Hall with a 49.8. You'd see the guys get as low as 49.4. They're doing it on the second, third, fourth laps of runs as well. So guys punching out lap after lap after lap to get right up towards the pointy end. Mark Dean, good lap, 50.037 is currently P2. This session right now, I think this is going to be full of action. We're going to see the time shuffle the whole way through because, as we were saying, there's so many cars on track, so little room. They're all going to just be jostling for position and try and get that clean run for that perfect lap.
Yeah, certainly. And in these Porsches, getting a lap right around Lime Rock Park is a fairly difficult task because there's so many long turns that these cars really don't like. Yeah, Larnack to pole on a 49.3. Goodness me.
The best lap we've seen so far for these guys overall. Dylan Shepherd jumps to third, 49.771.
Excellent time so far. Looks like Mark Dean remaining in fourth. He's just pulled off the track. Bo Albert to fifth. Jay Boving has made his way up into sixth, which is pretty good.
That for him. Damien McKnight on screen. I don't believe we've seen Jamie racing the Porsche. We've seen him in the V8 Supercar quite a lot. This is working his way now into second split in Scops and trying to get up in the top split. We spoke to him last week during our Scops broadcast.
Yes, of course. Jamie McKnight, one of the guys behind West End Mazda dealer in Parramatta in New South Wales. Very kindly sponsoring a few rounds of V8 Scops for us. And of course now he's, as he goes 16th on a 50.629, he's gotten into sim racing and is bringing the West End Mazda brand into sim racing as well. Recent merger with the recently renamed Performance Sim Sports. So we're seeing Jamie in a hybrid racing simulations Porsche there.
I think that paint might get updated very soon because teammate Jordan McDonnell running the new version of the livery. So very easy to jump in and go, whoops, I've update my livery. I know we've both done that before race.
Oh yes, certainly.
Interesting, got a notable absentee tonight though. Ben Dow goes to the top, including being compromised. The final corner.
Yeah.
9.323, great lap. Noticeable absentees, Josh Muggleton this weekend, who's off with real life commitments. Actually had a big accident today in his Volkswagen Golf. Ben Dow back to the top. Scott Larnack back to second. Seeing the timesheet shuffling around at the corner of my eye. So yeah, big accident for Muggo today. Rolled the car over. I think that car that he and his brother have worked very hard to get out on track. I don't think that'll be racing again, by the looks of it anyway.
Yeah, real shame seeing those pictures from the track of the damage to the car. The right-hand side, the roof is dented quite heavily in a few places. So, yeah, real shame for Muggo. Hopefully he makes a speedy recovery and is all right from that crash. But, yeah, it is a shame to see that happen, especially when, you know, real-life racing takes a huge amount of commitment and a lot of time out of your entire week. I think it's safe to say.
Yeah, agree. It's a lot of commitment. Oh, Jay Boving just compromised there on that flying lap. Just the car who I may have, I'm not sure, but one of the Evolution Racing team, I was not sure who it was, but another driver that did well at that meeting that Muggo at Wakefield Park was Stuart Vaughan, who actually works at West End Mazda with or Jamie. I believe he picked up a win in his class as well, so quite on the Stuart.
Excellent. Yeah, well done indeed.
Of course, the Muggos actually did win their race on Saturday as well, so they did all right then too. So not the end for the weekend for those guys, but had one group of iRacers do all right with West End Mazda guys. We better go back to the Carrera Cup talking about that though.
Oh yeah, we certainly should. Current top 10 at the moment is Ben Dowell on provisional pole right now. Scott Larnack in second, Stuart Hall third, Luca Giacomin 49.6 into fourth, with Steve Jansen in fifth. Wow, Luca. That was
almost a good drift, and then it
Yeah.
just shuffled back the other way.
Yeah, certainly. That was a very good display from Luca. Dylan Shepard in sixth, Jordan McDonnell in seventh place, Jay Boving eighth, Bo Albert ninth, and rounding out the top 10 at the present time, Mark Dean. But James McKee has just gone to 11th place. He might be threatening him. Have a look at how close the times are on the edge of the top 10.
Very, very tight. We just see a shuffle there too. Gary Hamilton up to P4, 1/1000th behind Stuart Hall.
Oh boy, that goodness me! My timesheets are showing them as having the exact same time.
Obviously, literally nothing between them. Do know, I can confirm that there is an actual fourth digit that is not displayed. So some timing sheets don't display it. I know the iRacing game screens don't display it and round the number down, whereas other timing sheets will round the number up. So that's why you may see occasionally thousandth of a second difference. Like see on screen, and you see in other timing programs and things like that. So there's your fact for the day, Reese.
Oh, Reese learned something new.
I only found that out. I actually found that out about five and a half years ago, where there was a race in the V8 Supercar where we had Madison, Renz, and Mitch separated by 1/1000th of a second, all three drivers.
Wow. Well, my question is, why isn't the fourth digit displayed?
Question, who knows?
I would very much like to have a fourth digit at my disposal, iRacing.
Gary Hamilton actually has ended that 1/1000th thing. He's gone to third, so
Oh yeah.
gone even quicker. And Ben Dow's gone quicker again too. Missed that. He's done a 49.284. Got Lana
281.
281.
He
So just went quicker again.
Yeah, just went quicker again. And see, this is a consequence of us racing at Lime Rock, Jay. These times are coming in thick and fast, and it's just non-stop throughout the whole session. But yeah, we were discussing before the broadcast started, I love racing at these shorter tracks, both from the driver's seat and from the commentator's chair. It's so entertaining racing around tracks that are under a minute long in super fast race cars, because not only are the times super close, but you also get the field mixed up a little bit. We're seeing some guys up here in the top 10 that we haven't seen much of.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a mixed up field, and it's very, very tight too. You look at the times from 8th position, Mark Dean with a 49.9, Gordon McDonald 49.9, Jay Boving 49.9, Bo Albert 49.9, Senjan Valalek 49.9. They're separated by 300ths of a second, those.
Damn, that is absolutely crazy how close those times are. And
It's amazing.
now
It's
drivers
Gary Hamilton's in the second, got the last bit of that lap. He's still pushing on for another one. That was his fifth lap on these tyres, so...
Whoa!
Oh,
He's really pushing it here, isn't he?
full commitment. Can't complain about the commitment levels here, Gary.
Yeah,
Still going
certainly.
on too.
Yeah. Incredible driving from Gary Hamilton. Of course, the rear end of that Porsche swaying around. And of course, this is the 2000...
Oh!
Whoa, hold on.
That's the big thing about this track is the jump.
Yeah.
You don't have the car mounted properly or positioned properly going up over the rise. It'll shoot you straight into the fence. Saw it a lot in the Inter race a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it's one of those things that really catches you out around this track. Of course, what I was going to say is, before Gary Hamilton very kindly demonstrated the intensity of Lime Rock's bumps to us, this is not the current version of the track as it exists in real life. I think this scan of the track dates from about 2008. So the track is much smoother now. It's been resurfaced, but here in iRacing, you still got all of those bumps to contend with.
There was some rumours about a rescan, but when they contacted another bit of info for you. You may have heard this as well. When they contacted Lime Rock about doing a rescan, Lime Rock actually said, don't do it yet because we may be changing the track once more. So iRacing have backed out of that at this stage because it wouldn't be too hard for them to get to Lime Rock and actually, again, they believe with the size of the track, it shouldn't take them too long to do it. But the issue is that Lime Rock are looking at doing more modifications. Would probably render the scan useless before it's even complete.
Yeah, certainly. That's unfortunately one of the downsides of the system of laser scanning tracks. While it's perfectly true to life at the time that the track is scanned, yeah, if the track ever makes changes, then it's instantly out of date. And if you want to keep to that singular vision of accurate laser scans, you can't really go just making changes to the 3D models.
No, that's the big iRacing has done and will obviously continue to do. That is make sure that the tracks are accurate at time of scan. So even Bathurst, there's a couple of changes that they've made at Bathurst, which are now different from the iRacing scan. A few people that actually went to the track messaged me and said, I didn't realise that they'd changed this at Bathurst because I've only ever seen it on iRacing. So, yeah, so it's very, very bizarre the way that it's done in one aspect, but it's fantastic another way because it does keep it very, very accurate. Just watching Ben Dowell, just seeing how much air he is getting going up over that hill.
Excellent to watch Ben Dowell and seeing the car squat and squirm through that final turn. What kind of time is he going to do on this one as he crosses the start finish line? It's a 49.318. So he's starting another really stonking run of laps as he runs out wide in the first part of the first turn. And this left-hander and this right-hander behind, just after it, those curbs. Oh dear!
Oh.
This is a continuation of what was happening last night, Jay. Every time I go and do a little spiel about something, a driver makes a mistake.
Yep. The commentator's curse, if ever we've seen it. I think the commitment levels there from what we just saw from Ben Dowell will show in the race as well. Making sure he's pushing ultra hard. But yeah, the commitment levels definitely will show later in the race. Interesting, a few of the guys that are probably a little bit off the pace of Ben Dowell at the moment. Probably not quite showing the commitment levels Dowell is showing. Just my looking at it anyway.
Yeah, certainly. I'm noticing, looking at Ben Dowell versus most other competitors in this field, Dowell is leaning on that front end massively. He's really putting a lot of faith into throwing that weight transfer forward and making sure that the car turns in.
Noticing now the top 21 cars separated by just on a second.
Wow.
Yeah, from 8th to 21st is half a second. Nothing between those guys.
Slightly crazy. Well, that makes me think, what kind of racing are we going to get? Because obviously with the times this close, we're going to have a bunch of drivers vying for the same spot of the racetrack.
I think we're going to be in for very, very close racing.
Yeah, and don't forget we've got two of them tonight. The first 20 minutes and the second 25 minutes.
The inverted top 10 as well from qualifying. So the battle for pole is actually quite close with Jordan McDonald 9th, Jay Boving 10th and Bo Albert in 11th. Those guys are actually fighting over pole position at the moment. And they're only separated by about, a lazy 0.02 of a second.
Yeah, that is incredible. I'm wondering if Sanjin Delalik can have a look in as well. I mean, the times are so close. You think basically anyone from 11th to maybe about 16th or 17th could have a go if they just put the perfect lap together?
I think anyone inside the top 20 could be ending up in that magical number 10 position. The way that this qualifying's going, if they get that, I think it's mainly turn 5 that is catching guys out and where people are losing and gaining time, the commitment levels up over the rise. Someone gets that right, has the right draft in the right spots. I think anyone could get right up towards the front of the field with no gaps at all separating pretty much everyone.
Yeah, certainly. And when they all come flowing into that first turn, I mean, Lime Rock, as we've mentioned, that first turn, incredibly open, but it tightens up. And if you get even the slightest bit offline, you're in the dirt. So drivers have got to be extremely careful on lap 1. We're just past the halfway mark of this qualifying session, so we got 14 minutes to go. 13, sorry.
Got Larnack on screen at the moment. He is currently P3, but no real time to gain before he gets to the top. That didn't count there. The exit of the final corner is catching a few guys out too. They're trying to push as hard as possible. They're just running with 2 wheels too far out in the dirt.
Yeah, and
just
Scott
giving the
Larnack
old flash to say, hey, don't come out of the pits and onto the racing line, whoever that is ahead of him. Not quite sure.
That was David Coleman ahead of him there. So Scott Larnack is now slowing down to give himself a bit of a gap.
Coleman's actually right at the bottom of the top 15. Only has 100th to gain before he'll gain a spot. He's in that position where we said anything could happen. He's only got 2 tenths and he's into that magical top 10.
Yeah, he certainly is. Runs a little bit wide through the last turn, though. That's really compromised his exit there. We'll see what kind of time that ends up with anyway. A 57.3. I believe that may have been an outlap, yeah. So, well, regardless, that exit from the last turn would not have helped his hot lap so far.
Definitely compromised. Stick with this lap, though, because that could be all it is that he's down for the whole lap in comparison to Luxa Bendale and Gary Hamilton. So we'll see the commitment levels here up over the rise.
Yeah, hard on the throttle.
Yep. No lifting
the front
at all.
Goes light. Yeah. And then through this turn, a bit of an early apex or late apex required, depending on your line for that turn. He gets the line right through the last turn.
That actually looked very good through the final corner.
It did. Very nice. So this is going to be a 50.252. It's close.
Quite close enough.
If he can keep this lap together, I'd wager he'll improve. Oh, taking a little too much curb there, and that set him offline.
Lap's now compromised, and around he goes.
Yeah,
Go to Gary Hamilton, who is on a flying lap at the moment.
Yeah, taking all of the curb out of the second last corner. Just waiting to get on the throttle. Kicking up a little bit of dust, but that's still legal. That's going to be a 49.26 in that pole. Excellent lap from Gary Hamilton.
Great lap.
So now Ben Dowell is sitting in the pits, and
I have been thinking
to,
now he's just jumping back out.
He's responding. It's only just shy of, just over, sorry, 200ths of a second he needs to make up.
I'm intrigued with this battle that is effectively happening between the guys in 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th. Oh, the rest of them. As we said, whoever finishes 10th, at the moment it's Jay Boving, whoever gets 10th gets pole because of the reverse grid format, reverse top 10 we have tonight.
Yeah, certainly, but of course we got to remember the person who actually runs the fastest time in qualifying gets a hefty points bonus to make up for that, so it's an interesting battle both at the top and the bottom of the top 10.
I think the guys that are fighting for the championship will be, one, happy that Muggo's not here because they got a chance to gain some points, and two, the bonus points for qualifying on first, I should say on pole first, is a big haul to help with their championship as well. Because they could still obviously win the race, win both races, even starting back in 10th. Especially with Lime Rock, such a tough track. Very, very easy for guys to make a mistake and capitalise. Get caught offline here, you basically ruin your race.
Yeah, certainly. One guy that I think we should probably take a look at is Bo Albert. He's currently started a hot lap. It's looking pretty good so far. Quite aggressive. He's got Scott Larnack ahead of him. Of course, Bo Albert is in 11th right now. He only needs 200ths to get into the top 10. Usurp Jay Boving's position. Oh, he's run a bit wide. Oh, rear end going a bit out of whack, and that's going to be the end of that run for Bo Albert, unfortunately. His assault on the top 10 is over. For now, at least, until he decides to go back out.
The guy who's yet to put in a fully representative time is Jake Maloney. He's just punched in flat, but I'd be fairly sure that he will move up the timesheets as he flips it around. Just as keep one eye on Jake Maloney, a guy that we don't see often in Porsche, but a very, very quick driver nonetheless.
He certainly is. I was just going to say, with reference to Maloney, as we see Delalet going through the last turn presently, I've been monitoring Maloney's driving, and seems like he's still getting used to the car. So it might have been a late call up for him. A 59.264 for Sanjin, that is an out lap time, but fortunately, a lap at Lime Rock isn't that long, so we aren't exactly going to be seeing a case where we check back in on someone at a later time, because the lap's over before you know it.
Yep, we can just stay with the lap and then we're right.
Yeah, certainly.
Unlike other tracks where we'll go to someone else and then come back. By the time we go back at this track, it's already done anyway. So, full commitment from Sanjay. You just saw the rear wiggle a little bit after the front landed back on the ground.
Using all of the curb. Oh, about a car width wide in the last turn.
Saying that, these guys, I think a lot of drivers have been pushing on for 3, 4, 5 laps in a stint, and the car's coming to them the further it goes or the longer it goes in a run. Got to Ben Dowell, who's on a flyer. He's got to try and see if he can get that time back on Gary Hamilton. It's 2/100ths of a second that he's looking for. On an out lap at the moment, so just about to start his flying lap. Not long left in the session already. There's only 5 minutes left. This has gone so quick.
Yeah, it certainly has. All right, so Ben Dowell just making his way around the circuit to gear up for what will be one of his final chances at taking quote-unquote pole.
First. We'll call it first.
Okay.
The qualifying winner.
You the boss.
I don't know. Am I?
I
look at the air from Ben Dowell. He's by far the most committed through that section of the track. By far. Oh, too wide though.
That's an off track for sure. Well,
going to keep going though. He's going to set it up for the next lap. Run as wide as he likes, as right as he can for that exit. Push on again. That time, I reckon, would have been about a 49.3.
Oh, look out.
Oh,
super drift.
That's not quick.
Certainly isn't, especially when you're sitting still on the track like that.
Go to Stuart Hall, who's still sitting inside the top 4. Jake Maloney's just put himself inside the top 10. He's gone to 8th. The Jordan McDonald now in the magic number 10 position. But Stuart Hall's been doing a great job lately. He's definitely finding some pace and feeling very, very comfortable in this car.
Yeah, he is. It's really good to see him up in that position. Only 2/10 off from first position in qualifying. I'm just also monitoring Jay Boving. He's just exited the pits to have one final shot at beating McDonnell.
And Bo Albert and Sanjay Dalalek also out on track too. So there's 2 battles going on at the moment. The top of the top 10 and the bottom of the top 10. Stuart Hall crosses the line. That's 49.8. So he'll go on for another lap. No, he won't, because that's Tokyo Drift session once again.
Yep, and he's going to go into the grass and promptly press the escape button.
Go to Bo Albert just finishing a flying lap. Then we'll go to Jay Boving for his next lap.
Yeah,
Bo
Bo Albert across the line, 49.9. He goes to ninth.
Oh, so Mark Dean now currently the magic number 10 position. Go to Jay Boving to watch this lap. So big difference starting first and starting 12th. At the moment, that difference is 11 one-thousandths of a second between starting in the first position, starting in 12th.
Oh my lord. And Jay Boving, unfortunately, that infield section's gone a bit awry for him.
While we've been talking about that, Gary Hamilton's gone quicker. 49.1. Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible.
I don't think Dowell will be able to come back at him there. There's only 3 minutes on the clock. Through the last corner comes Jay Boving. He's a little bit wide of the apex and compromised his exit too. So this lap will not be enough.
50.2, yeah. Boving had to get on the anchors a bit late in the turn there, carry them past the apex. But if he stays out, he'll be able to make one final run. 27.5 minutes passed in the session now.
Yep, we're into our final 2 and a bit minutes. 3 laps effectively for these guys. Still seems like a lot. You could actually crash and still get out and have one more run with 2 minutes on the clock. That's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. Things would have been much different though if Lime Rock had been built as originally intended with the mountain layout extension.
I don't know. I think your How to Ruin a Racetrack version was much better.
Oh yeah.
Boving crosses the line this time.
Slower.
Yeah, 50. Luca Jackerman last time he's now gone to 4th, so fall back to 5th. There's Sanjan Delilac, who's on a flying lap now as well. He's actually doing multiple laps on this run. This is his 8th lap on these tyres. And he's wide and almost into the fence, so that'll be him done. We'll go to Mark Dean through the final corner. Currently the lucky man on effective pole position.
50.5, no improvement.
I think it's most guys' second lap at it is where the improvement in time is. Improving time. Ben Dowell has improved. Did a 49.230. Going for one more lap.
50.086 now from Jay Boving. He's getting closer and closer to his qualifying time. This might be the one. This might be the lap.
Jordan McDonald's come out again for another stint once more as well. We've got 45 seconds on the clock. This session has been absolutely awesome. This has been my favourite qualifying session we've had for the entire season.
Yeah, this has been great. Action non-stop, and just seeing the drivers work their way around Lime Rock Park, it's always a pleasure no matter what the series. Jay Boving pushing really hard through the final section of the track. Now the bane of his existence, the last turn. He's hooked it up.
That looks better.
Yeah.
He's got draft 2 down the front straight to help him.
He only needs 100th. And he's got it. He's in 9th.
The Bo Albert now to the magical P1. Jay Boving in 2nd position. Jordan McDonald's still going on. He's about to start his flying lap. Checkered flag will come out just after as well. We've got 1 second on the clock as he crosses the line. So perfect timing.
He's already... it's over. Done.
Lap's over before it started. We'll go back to Jake Maloney, who's still on a flying lap.
Jake Maloney, of course, now made his way up to 6th.
Good work from Maloney to keep pushing up the timesheets. He said that he was going to be one to watch.
Yeah, he didn't even set a... I don't think he even joined in the practice session.
He joined halfway through qualifying, so he's basically had 15 minutes out there just punching in practice laps.
That's going to be an off track.
A bit too wide.
Yeah, and he's going to slow down out of the last turn. Test out a pit entry while you're at it.
We'll run through the final qualifying times. Gary Hamilton, P1. Ben Dow 2nd. Scott Larnack 3rd. Luca Jackerman 4th. Field Hall 5th. Jake Maloney 6th. 7th position. Shepard 8th. Jay Boving 9th. Bo Albert in 10th. Flip those drivers around. Bo Albert will start from pole position.
Mark Peter Dean just misses out on the coveted pole position for race 1 here at Lime Rock. Jordan McDonnell in 12th, only 5,000ths of a second behind. 13th, Sanjan Delalic, with James McKee in 14th, Dave Roberts in 15th place with David Coleman 16th, Corey Ott 17th, Andrew Stokes in 18th, 19th is Tim Foltz, and Scott McKee is going to start from position number 20.
All those top 20 separated by 1.05 of a second. So absolutely nothing between this. Still tight going back to 21st, Alex Greenwood 22nd, George Johnson, Simon Mazzone 23rd, Griffin Gardner in 24th position, Jamie McKnight in 25th, Javian Wood 26th, Daniel Stevens, Matthew King, Mark Turner, Blackhall round out the top 30, the top 28 drivers separate.
Absolutely crazy stuff. And drivers not setting a time in qualifying, I think they've all disconnected. Shane Rayner, Jared Farrell, Steve Hoppett, and James Deal there may not be taking the grid, but, well, now that comes to an end, and we wait for the race service to go up.
A little bit of a couple of seconds. We'll just keep talking.
Oh, but I want to get a cup of tea, mate.
All right, well, you go and make a cup of tea. Have a quick break. We'll go to a quick little break. Back in a couple of minutes once race sessions go up. This is Outside Lines coverage of Porsche Carrera Cup Australia, season number 2, presented by Sip. Hey, we'll be back in a moment.
When I sat in the car, you always wonder, what's it going to feel like? It was my first time driving a mid-engine GT car. My thoughts were, wow, this is really good for a first time in a car. I was really surprised by, you're sitting low, you got the A-pillars at steep angles, the windshield's at steep angles, you can see the fender flares. I think we have a chance to win. Everything's got to go right, but I think we have a car that can win the race or be on the podium. But can you imagine how cool that would be to go back 50 years later to the year and do it?
Introducing a whole new form of racing to the best online racing simulation in the world. This is Dirt Racing on iRacing.com. Race online at some of America's most legendary dirt tracks, including Eldora and Williams Grove. iRacing is the premier online racing game featuring NASCAR, IndyCar, sports cars, and now World of Outlaws, the leading sanctioning body for dirt racing. iRacing is easy to use and features a centralized ranking system to make sure you have the best experience at any skill level. With a massive inventory of high-precision laser scan tracks and cars with an unmatched dedication to quality and detail, iRacing gives you the most authentic online racing experience available. Thanks to iRacing's dynamic track system, developed specifically for dirt racing, tracks change over the course of a race, just like your favorite dirt track on a Friday or Saturday night. From a slick racing groove all the way up to the cushion, iRacing's dirt tracks deliver non-stop racing action. Partnered with the World of Outlaws, iRacing is your source for the most authentic dirt racing experience available, featuring 4 brand new tracks and 11 new cars, including street stocks, legends cars, late models, NASCAR trucks, winged and non-winged sprint cars, with much more on the way. Join the dirt revolution on iRacing.com and start slinging mud today.
Hi guys, I'm Scott Speed, driver of this amazing Volkswagen Beetle GRC car. I got good news for the iRacing fam. We got this coming in. I'm currently working on it myself personally to make sure that it is as accurate as possible. With the addition of dirt and now this mean car, it is going to be so fun. And it's going to be available free to all the iRacing members. Personally, I can't wait to get out there and race you guys on it.
Welcome back, one and all, to V8's Online's live broadcast of the Porsche Carrera Cup Australia Championship presented by Sim Racing Bay. Once again, round 7 of the championship at Lime Rock Park this Sunday night, the 13th of August, 2017. And Jay Kennedy, the weather is completely different to the qualifying session, isn't it?
Yep, I think the wind's picked up, the clouds are blown away, the sun's out, it's nice and warm. So complete polar opposite of what we had for qualifying earlier, which was overcast, looked very, very drab and cold. The sun's now out. The track has got very, very hot. The air temperature's picked up, but no doubt with the air temperature picking up, and the racing will get hot as well.
Yeah, certainly will. And with the weather being completely different, the drivers will obviously be caught out by this, having gotten used to driving their cars in a cold session. Now they're going to have to get used to cars that are slightly more understeery, maybe a bit more prone to spinning in these warmer conditions. And funneling into turn 1 at Lime Rock is an interesting experience in any category.
Even more so when you've got cars that are so close in this series. I think lap 2 will be just as action-packed as lap 1, how it goes into turn 1. So look out for both lap 1 and lap 2 into turn 1, because I think it will be absolute chaos. I think my fingers will be getting very, very sore clicking the Cup Price Racing replay tonight. But interesting looking at the times in this warm-up session. Larnack fastest over Maloney and Jay Boving. Bo Albert P5. A little bit of a mixed field here in this warm-up session.
Yeah, of course. With the many different driving styles on display here, I think a lot of drivers adapt to different conditions differently, and a person who is much better in cold conditions, when the track gets hot, different driving styles definitely come to the fore, and you'll see mixtures of times based on that. Scott Larnack going side by side right now into the second last turn with Matthew Kidd. But Scott Larnack obviously feeling pretty good about himself in this warm-up session.
Yeah, he's definitely got this car hooked up and suited to his style straight away, straight out of the gate here in this little bit of a different format, different session, different weather. It'll feel very bizarre for a lot of these guys to have done very, very well in qualifying and now be dropped back through the field when it comes to race time, because I don't think there's many races out there now where guys do different qualifying formats like we've seen in this series. And I've found that to be the most enjoyable thing about the series, is that every race is something a little bit different, something a little bit of extra spice just to mix things up a little bit.
Yeah, certainly. I really enjoy the fact that this has been implemented for this round of the championship. I think it'll definitely spice up the Drivers' Championship battle for sure. Seeing the guys that we'd usually see at the front of the field, of course, having to make their way through or get involved in an incident on lap 1, touch wood. We hope that doesn't happen, obviously, but there's a fair chance it might.
Yeah, with the number of cars we've got in this race, we've got 31 drivers who have now put in a lap in warm-up, on track in warm-up. So we'll have 31 of the 34 drivers we saw in the qualifying session. So a few guys have decided not to race, which is understandable, because sometimes those qualifying sessions actually prove whether you're feeling comfortable in the car or not. You might feel comfortable practice and solo practice, but you get out there with other cars and you don't feel comfortable in the slightest. Ben Dow just moved up the times, now up to P5.
Yep. Ben Dowell, of course, one of the fastest qualifiers from the qualifying session.
Gary Hamilton, 4th in this warm-up session. He was, because I've already forgotten, I'm sure he was quickest in the last session.
I'm fairly certain he was.
Too many things going on in my mind at the moment. Interesting.
Yeah, oh, don't worry, I'm the same. I've been dancing around trying to say who's actually on pole for this race because I've forgotten.
Well, actually on pole will be Bo Albert, because finish in 10th position. We'll go through the official starting grid as we see Bo Albert, followed by Jay Boving, Dylan Shepherd, Steve Jansen, Jake Maloney, Stuart Hall, Luke Ackerman, Scott Larnack, Ben Dowell, And Gary Hamilton, the top 10, which has been reversed, as we said, from actual qualifying.
Yeah, just a quick refresher on 11th to 20th. It's Mark Dean, Jordan McDonnell, Sanjin Dalalik, James McKee, Dave Roberts, David Coleman, Corey Ott, Andrew Stokes, Tim Foltz, and Scott McKee.
Got Greenwood, Johnson, Mazzomo, Gardner, McKnight, Wood, Stevens, Kidd, Turner, Blackhall, and Farrell. The rest of the field in this race. Interesting. I was always under the impression that the start was on the outside here at Lime Rock, but it's on the inside. So Albert will be starting right on the inside.
And we are green.
No.
We're away at Lime Rock Park. That came out of nowhere. Have a look at the jump behind... who's that? My numbers are mixed up.
Oh, someone way off the track there. Not sure who that was. James McKee facing the wrong direction. We've got another car spun. Oh, there's a car upside down. It's Sanjin Dalilak. We will get a replay of that.
Dylan Shepherd versus Jay Boving. Oh, Shepherd right up the inside of Boving to take second. They make contact and Boving almost into the wall. The yellow flag is out.
Yep. Got the safety car being thrown, which is a very, very good decision considering we had a car upside down. So we'll pick up the replay and we'll see Sanjin Dalilak exactly what happened. You'll see the car of James McKee run off the track. Now, contact between he and Stuart Hall, Mark Dean, and then I'm not sure who that was in the Proforce car. May have been Corey Ott and upside down. No fault of Corey's, but that unfortunately has ended Sanjin's race as we are now under safety car.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Sanjin, I had a look at that incident. I don't think there was too much he could have done about that. It was very much a case of car on the outside of the circuit. The car was already loaded up on the left-hand side. He probably couldn't turn much more and, yeah, just turned towards the inside of the track and got picked up by another car. So, yeah, it's something that happens quite a bit in sim racing, but you can't control it that much.
Replay on screen. Replay on screen of that pass between Jay Boving and Dylan Shepherd. Actually lucky for Boving the point at which the yellow flag came out because he'd only lost one spot. If it had come out another 5 seconds later, he would have dropped all the way back to 7th or 8th. So very, very, very lucky for Boving.
Yeah, timing was absolutely impeccable there from the race admin on Boving's behalf.
Had it been maybe 2 seconds earlier, Shepherd would not have got that pass done as well. So pretty much perfect timing. We were seeing a few guys into the pits get damage fixed. You can see Jordan McDonnell in. We've got Daniel Stevens in the pits. We've got Mark Turner in the pits. Jake Blackhall also in the pits. So you guys in the pits. Gary Hamilton has gained a spot, as has Ben Dow. Obviously will be from Sanjin Dalilak being involved in that incident.
Yeah, Jordan McDonnell asking to have a black flag removed because going into the pits he passed a couple of cars.
Or whether that request will be agreed to or not. It won't be far off going back green. I think we'll go green this lap around. Yeah, we will because the lights are off on the safety car.
Yeah, Lime Rock once again letting the world know loud and clear that it's one of the shortest tracks in iRacing.
Have a look at the almost bump drafting down the hill between Albert and Shepherd. Shep's wanting to make sure he gets the jump when Albert goes. A little bit of a tap. This is interesting.
Yeah, he's getting a bit aggressive already, I think prematurely, is Dylan, but Bo Albert is going to control the field as the pace car goes in. He is now away. Yep, very good jump from Bo Albert, and it looks like Dylan Shepherd is being left in the dust slightly. Of course, behind him, he's got Jay Boving, who, well, I don't think there's any love lost between Shepherd and Boving after the shenanigans a couple of laps ago.
Side by side goes Alex Greenwood, Jamie McKnight. McKnight on the outside. He's going to lose a couple of spots here. We've got Mazzomo looking at coming through and does. What we were saying earlier, get offline, you can absolutely cripple your race because you can't get back into the groove with the rest of the field. Griffin Gardner's got past McKnight, so McKnight's lost about 5 spots. We'll go back to the front though. Boving trying to hunt down Shepherd. These front 3 pulled away from the rest.
They certainly have, and look who's latching on behind them, Jake Maloney.
Yeah.
He's got Scott Larnack just behind him, who is in turn facing pressure from Steve Jansen. It looks like a bit of a fair gap backwards to Luca Giacomin, but Ben Dowell right behind Giacomin, trying to get past him there. Have a look at how much more aggressive Dowell is on the brakes. Oh, might have run a little bit too wide there, compromised himself a bit.
May not hurt him too much though, because he's going to get a decent exit out of the second corner, second part of the corner. Just ahead though, you can see Larnack and Maloney fighting very, very hard too. This is awesome. We've now got 5 minutes through this race, 15 minutes to go. It is time certain, 20-minute race.
Yeah, and every driver knows it. Have a look at the train forming behind Bo Albert. He's a bit of a cork in a bottle at the moment as they come through the last turn to start another racing lap. Seeing some dust kicked up just ahead of them. Have a look at Boving pulling out from behind Shepherd. He's going to try and go for the move at turn 1. He's got the inside line, but I don't know if he'll be able to hold it. He's going to stick it up the inside in the middle of the second turn. Yeah, it looks like Shepherd just yielded to him there. Oh, but Shepherd's going to try and come back at him. He's sticking to the inside. Boving's running wide there in the left-hander.
Gonna have to watch for Maloney.
Just to hold on. Yeah.
Maloney's going to get a run here too.
Oh, this is getting a little awkward here. Shepherd might try and do the same thing. No, he's going to hold back this time on Boving at this corner, but he goes to the inside, coming over the crest. Oh, he's going to go up the inside here.
Oh,
he's lost
big moment!
Oh, wall contact with Boving, and he's in the wall. So
that's a race done for Boving.
Oh, what a shame.
The Maloney now to second, Larnack to third. Shepherd's holding up the field. You got Jansen, Jacobin side by side, and in comes Ben Dowell as well to get involved too.
Oh my goodness, have a look at this. Have a look at Jacobin going up the inside of Steve Jansen. So he's going to take that position there. I think he is now up to 5th. Oh, wow.
Going to replay now that it's settled a little bit of that with the breath.
Yep, Shepherd versus Boving in the second last turn. Yeah, looks like, yeah, Shepherd had a little bit of a run and he decided to go up the inside under brakes, but he wasn't able to keep the rear end in check. And yeah, I think Boving wouldn't have been too happy with that. He might have interpreted that as an unneeded dive bomb.
Yeah, I don't think that was... I don't know whether 100% can guarantee it was not intended, but...
Oh yeah, of course.
It definitely wasn't the outcome that either of those two guys would have done, because it actually has hurt Shepherd just as much. Well, not as much. Boving's out of the race, but it has hurt Shepherd because he's now back into 4th position, being hunted down by Luca Jacobin and Ben Dowell at the moment. But Bo Albert was pulling away, but Jake Maloney's starting to catch and giving him a bit of his own medicine with a couple of flashes on the headlights. And down the hill they come into the final corner. Dylan Shepherd, big moment through the second last corner.
Yeah.
And he's now compromised his run through the final corner and onto the front straight, and he will get past here by Luca Jacobin for sure.
Wondering if Ben Dowell will try and get through as well. He's going to have a fair go of it. Shepherd moving to the inside, squeezing Dowell just a little bit. Of course, Shepherd has the right to the line there. Dowell wasn't as far up the inside as is required to gain the right to the corner, so good racing from both of those guys.
Big crash at turn 1 and 2 between George Johnson and Stuart Hall. Get a replay of that thanks to Cut Price Racing. We'll see exactly what's happened. Actually, while I just said that, there's just been a change for the lead as well between Maloney, Albert and Larnack up there too. We'll get a replay of that as well. We'll get this one between Johnson and Hall. I think there is another car involved as well.
McKnight. Yeah, it looked like it was just a case of McKnight not knowing that Johnson was there up the inside and turned in on him, and they made contact.
Pass into turn 5. A little bit of contact too between Maloney and Albert, and Larnack was right on Albert's tail trying to get through, but wasn't able to do so. They're now back into line and continuing on to this battle. Larnack has very, very good pace and looking to get past Albert. Actually,
Yeah,
Albert
lets
moves.
him...
Yep. Team orders there.
Yep, so Larnack obviously saying, I am the faster of us, and he is going to be let loose in pursuit of Jake Maloney, but have a look at Maloney's gap that he's got now.
Yeah, it's
coming to the end of lap 10.
Ben Dow's one to watch right now. He's right on the tail of Dylan Shepherd coming through the final corner, and he will likely get this done into turn 1. I'm sure he'll throw it up the inside here.
Yeah,
and
out he goes. Oh, Shepherd's pretty good on the brakes, though. He lets...
Gary Hamilton's going to get through.
Oh!
Yeah,
A little bit of mid-corner contact, never hurt anyone, I suppose.
I don't think Shepherd expected any other car to be there. I'm just going to a replay because I just noticed Alex Greenwood has had an incident at turn 1 as well. So we're just going to cut Price Racing replay of that one too. And then we'll go back to the front because big moment for Greenwood.
Yeah.
Actually lucky not to involve anyone else. So I'll actually go back to that with Ben Dow, Gary Hamilton.
Yeah, Ben Dowell and Gary Hamilton now clear of Dylan Shepherd, and it looks like Hamilton has fallen back slightly from Dowell.
And Hamilton's actually got some damage from that little contact too between he and Shepherd there too. That front left-hand wheel doesn't look like that guard sitting overly nice over the top.
Yeah, certainly not.
The gap first back to second now, over a second.
Yeah, Jake Maloney is really stamping his authority on this field at the moment, but Scott Larnack, it can be said, he's not giving up in his pursuit of him.
No, definitely not giving up at all. The gap is 1 second. I think the next 2 or 3 laps will really determine how this race will unfold because he just needs to knuckle down, punch in some good lap times. We said before this race in the warm-up session, he was quickest. He's got the best feel for the car in these conditions. Just now has to get those lap times in. Last lap by 50.6 for both drivers, so exactly the same lap time for these two.
Yeah, incredibly competitive up the front of the field, and it looks like the top 4 relatively spaced out, but Bo Albert will soon be facing pressure from his teammate Luca.
Interesting, Ben Dow is lapping slightly quicker than Luca as well. Luca Jackerman in 4th position. So Dow could be right on the tail of Jackerman by the end of this race. 7.5 minutes left. This race is flying by.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's super fast paced, this race.
Which is good. I love it. I'm really enjoying the fast pace of this. We've got another one after this race finishes. We'll have another race to come tonight. I'm just seeing Jared Farrell in the pits. Something's happened to him.
Yep. Looked like he just pulled to a stop in the turn 1 runoff area and just escaped back to the pits.
Guys will do that if they're finding themselves out of sequence.
I saw a near incident down in 11th, 12th, 13th, Jay.
Yep.
If we can just get
got that battle. It's got that battle up on screen just as you went. Oh, I just saw that battle was heating up between Tim Fultz, Corey and Griffin Gardner.
Yeah.
Let's get the replay up now of the action into turn 1.
Corey Ott absolutely barreling into turn 1. I don't know if that was Fultz braking early or Ott braking late.
Yeah, not too sure, but either way, that Proforce Racing Porsche looks a little bit secondhand. Of course, it was Ott involved in that issue in turn 1, lap 1, which is definitely not his fault. Involving he and Sanjin. Here he goes.
Yeah, we might see a move into turn 1. Tim Fultz is going to maintain his line. Look at Ott moving around behind him. Oh, Tim moving to the inside of the circuit in the braking zone. Of course, that is a valid racing line with the way this this turn is set up at Lime Rock Park.
I'll have to break away, though, because 4th and 5th is on now. 3rd, 4th, 5th separated by 0.6 of a second. You've got Bo Albert in the blue Logitech G Evolution Racing Team Porsche. You've got the yellow ERT Porsche of Luca Jackerman, and then the burnt orange, it's a Fanta car of Ben Dowell in TTL team car, a sim spec on the car. These guys, well, have a look at the pace gain of Dowell. We were saying before he was about a second behind, and he was slowly catching. All of a sudden, he's there.
Yeah, well, you know, one draft on a straight can decide all the difference, can't it?
And for sure, Larnack as well is starting to catch Maloney. 5.5 minutes left. Got about 6 laps left to go. This race is well and truly on.
Yeah, certainly is. We've got battles happening all throughout the field.
Right at the front of the field, it's now 0.6 of a second. This battle that we've just flicked to has settled a little. Bolts and Ott are still going at it. Ott trying to take a different line coming up into turn 5. It definitely won't work out there.
Yeah, it definitely won't, but we'll see what can happen through the last couple of turns. Ott did gain quite a bit on faults out of here, but it looks like this time around he's made a little bit of a mistake. Tim just driving conservatively in the mid-corner.
Back on board with Ben Dow trying to hunt down Luca Jackaman.
Yeah, this is an excellent view, and of course we can't forget Ben Dow's got Gary Hamilton right behind him, so...
Yeah, now 4-car battle.
Yeah, he's going to have to be double tasking. He's going to have to be managing the gap to the car ahead of him while also having a look at what the car in his mirror is doing. So, Dowell once again getting really close to Jackaman.
Might be close enough to get a move done into turn 1 here if he can maintain this gap and get that exit right. And he is too. He's going to get it done here, I think.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Jackaman's got the advantage of having another car ahead of him too, so the draft won't be helping Dowell as much as normal. Because double draft isn't as good in these cars as it is in others. So Jackaman would have been getting the advantage of Albert ahead.
Yeah, Jackaman covering on the inside of the left-hander. Dowell taking the alternative lines.
The timer says it's the last lap of the race. It is definitely not. We still have 3.5 minutes left in this race.
Dowell just tapping the brakes into the 4th last turn. I'm sorry, I can't come up with any other names for it. Oh, have a look there. Just a little bit of mid-corner contact between Dowell and Jackaman on the in the last turn. That's going to let Hamilton through.
Yep, so Hamilton is done through. He might also get Jackaman too, will he? No, not quite close enough.
Oh, Jackaman versus Hamilton. Hamilton just sliding a little bit on the inside line there in turn 1. Dowell is going to have to yield to let him go in the second half of the turn, but is he going to come back in the left-hander? No, he's going to hang back.
We have 4 laps left in this race, or 3.5 laps left in this awesome race.
I've always loved watching racing at Lime Rock Park. It's just the fast, frenetic, action-packed racing that the Porsche Carrera Cup provides, mixed with Lime Rock Park. It's bumpy, it's fast, it's flowing, it's short. What a fantastic combo this is.
Yeah, we saw in the V8 Supercar official season last season that this track was really, really cool with the racing we saw here. We saw IMSA was very, very entertaining to watch. Probably not so much to drive, but to watch it was really, really cool. And once again, Lime Rock's putting on a show here as these guys are getting into traffic now. Oh,
that threw Jackaman off slightly. He got a bit offline. Now Hamilton's right on his bumper.
2 minutes on the clock.
Will be enjoying this. Yep.
So the timing on screen's playing up a little bit due to the safety car that we had. The predictometer's out. Predictometer's not working, Reese.
Gonna have to get it recalibrated, mate.
2 to go.
Oh, Hamilton running wide in the last turn. It's going to be another position change. Ben Dowell's going to go through on the inside, down the front stretch. Sticks firmly to the inside.
Hamilton won't put up too much of a fight. Actually, will he's going to get around the outside and maintain the spot. Wow.
No, thank you, Ben. I'm going to keep this.
And you're not having that spot at all.
Well, unfortunately, that's had the side effect of letting the 2 ERT teammates ahead of them pull away slightly. Jackaman and Albert have broken away a bit. Oh, what's happened here to Hamilton? Slowing down a bit. He's going to defend. Oh, they're going to go side by side over the crest. Oh, this
still
is
side
really
by side.
What the need.
No, don't do it. Oh, still side by side. Actually, around the outside goes Dowell and move done. up the front, the lap times between Maloney and Larnack are
Oh.
very, very close. We may actually have still 2 left in this race. It's right on the borderline of whether this is the last lap or not. It was about 50 seconds on the clock when they crossed the start-finish line. So this may be the last lap. This may not be. We're not 100% sure. Albert and Jackerman very, very close. Griffin Gardner, Corey Ott have just got past Tim Fultz through the final corner. And Ott and Gardner are side by side down the front straight. Gardner defends. He come back across and take the position. Zomo looking at getting the move done on Fultz. We'll go back to the front though. Albert and Jackerman have gotten a lot closer in this last little bit too. But we'll go to Maloney. We're not sure if this is the final lap or not. 8 seconds left on the clock.
I think he's going to make it across. He's got traffic ahead of him, George Johnson.
Yep, one more lap. White flag is now out. So this is now the final lap of the race. So we got an extra lap in the end.
Yeah,
Larnack
so
is
lap
right
23. There. Yeah, Larnack, his car looks a little bit cleaner than Maloney's does. I think Maloney's has got a bit of a dent in the rear wing.
It's closed up a lot this lap too. This last little section of this lap. Closing up a lot. He might be close enough to have a dive into the final corner here.
Yeah, he might. We'll see what happens here. Coming through the penultimate turn at Lime Rock Park.
Won't be able to do it. Maloney's going to hold on here. Great drive from Maloney. Just staying out of trouble. Big flash of the headlights through the final corner and down the front straight. Picks up the win in race 1 tonight here at Lime Rock Park. But have a look at Ben Dowell. Luca Jackerman. Oh, it's going to be close.
Very close.
Albert holds on for 3rd. Jackerman 4th. Dowell in 5th. 10th of a second separating them in the end. Very, very close. Well done, guys.
Yep, Dylan Shepherd is going to come home in 7th. Mark Dean in 8th. Drivers just filing across the line behind them. It looks like Griffin Gardner was able to pull out a gap on Corey Ott.
Yep.
He's going to finish in 11th position, and it looks like bit of a battle here between Javin Wood and James McKee. James is just going to lose out.
Stuart Hull's been the unlucky driver out of the entire night. Finishes in 21st in the end after such a strong qualifying run. Found himself way back in the field. The other driver's unlucky tonight. Obviously, Sanjan Jalilak saw upside down. And Jay Boving as well. Unlucky first race for him. We'll run through the race results. Maloney, as we said, picking up the win. 5/10 of a second in the end over Larnack. And Bo Albert, Jackerman, Dowell, Hamilton, Shepherd, Dean, Coleman, and McKee rounding out the top 10.
In 11th was Griffin Gardner with Corey Ott and Tim Fultz following behind. Simon Mazzomo in 14th position with Javin Wood just holding off James McKee for 15th. 17th, Dave R. Roberts, Alex Greenwood in 18th, Matthew Kidd 19th, Daniel Stevens rounding out the top 20.
I'm excited for the next race. Race will run through the last of the Stuart Hall, Jake Blackhall, Steve Jansen, Jamie McKnight finishing all on the lead lap. A 25th position ends up with Andrew Stokes. Sanjan Jalilak got back out on track, finished 2 laps down in the end for 26. George Johnson next, Mark Turner, Jared Farrell, Jay Boving, and Jordan McDonald rounding out the field in the end. Race 1 done. One more to go. We've got a little bit longer next time. 25 minutes of racing for the race, the second race tonight. I'm really looking forward to that race.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. A rolling start as well this time around, don't forget. So it's going to be interesting on the start. It's going to be all about that jump.
Rolling start means faster speeds into turn 1 all grouped up.
Yep.
So I'm scared and excited about that all at the same time. But we'll be back very, very soon. Bouts Online. This is Bouts Online's coverage of Porsche Carrera Cup Australia presented by Sim Racing Bay. We'll be back very, very soon.
Introducing a whole new form of racing to the best online racing simulation in the world. This is Dirt Racing on iRacing.com. Race online at some of America's most legendary dirt tracks, including Eldora and Williams Grove. iRacing is the premier online racing game featuring NASCAR, IndyCar, sports cars, and now World of Outlaws, the leading sanctioning body for dirt racing. iRacing is easy to use and features a centralized ranking system to make sure you have the best experience at any skill level. With a massive inventory of high-precision laser scan tracks and cars with an unmatched dedication to quality and detail, iRacing gives you the most authentic online racing experience available. Thanks to iRacing's dynamic track system developed specifically for dirt racing, tracks change over the course of a race, just like your favorite dirt track on a Friday or Saturday night. From a slick racing groove all the way up to the cushion, iRacing's dirt tracks deliver non-stop racing action. Partnered with the World of Outlaws, iRacing is your source for the most authentic dirt racing experience available, featuring 4 brand new tracks and 11 new cars, including street stocks, Legends cars, late models, NASCAR trucks, winged and non-winged sprint cars, with much more on the way. Join the Dirt Revolution on iRacing.com and start slinging mud today.
Hi guys, I'm Scott Speed, driver of this amazing Volkswagen Beetle GRC car. I got good news for the iRacing fam. We got this coming in. I'm currently working on it myself personally to make sure that it is as accurate as possible. With the addition of dirt and now this mean car, it is gonna be so fun. And it's gonna be available free to all the iRacing members. Personally, I can't wait to get out there and race you guys on it.
When I sat in the car, you always wonder, what's it going to feel like? It was my first time driving a mid-engine GT car. My thoughts were, wow, this is really good for our first time in a car. I was really surprised by, you're sitting low, you got the A-pillars at steep angles, the windshields at steep angles, you can see the fender flares. I think we have a chance to win. Everything's got to go right, but I think we have a car that can win the race or be on the podium. But can you imagine how cool that would be to go back 50 years later to the year and do it?
Welcome back, one and all, to V8's Online's live broadcast of the Porsche Carrera Cup Australia Championship, presented by Sim Racing Bay for the third time tonight. My name is Reese Gardner, and joining me in the commentary box is Jay Kennedy for Race 2 at Lime Rock Park. And Jay, the track's even hotter.
Yeah, the track's got warmer after we left that last race. I'm guessing it's probably because the action on track was so hot in that last one. That was terrible.
Yes,
yep.
Yes, it was.
Well done, Jay. That's going on the pun wall. Looking at the times this session so far, they're about 1.5 seconds off what we saw in qualifying, 2 seconds off what we saw in qualifying, and a full second off what we saw in the last race. So the times are definitely slower this time around. So the racing definitely different once again. We see guys try and struggle with the track, get comfortable with the extra heat out there on the circuit. I'm really looking forward to it though. It will be a really, really cool race. We've got 25 minutes of racing ahead for us in this next one. It will be really, really cool.
Yep, rolling start with the grid set by the results of race 1. So Jake Maloney is going to start on pole in this session, but looking at the times in the warm-up, I'll tell you what, Scott Larnack isn't having any trouble at all with these higher temperatures. He's currently on pole by half a tenth.
Yeah.
Or in P1, sorry. Why am I talking like that?
What's the habit? Seeing the session before the race and someone's on top, they're instantly on pole. But yeah, Larnack's quickest at the moment. Maloney in second, Jackham in third, Hamilton fourth, and Ben Dowell in fifth. So the guys that we've seen right up towards the pointy end all night are still there once again right now.
Yes, indeed. And I'll tell you what, Ben Dowell and Gary Hamilton will certainly be looking to make some more inroads into this field. Of course, on account of them qualifying with the quickest times in the qualifying session, they were put back to 9th and 10th or thereabouts for the start of race 1. But they've made their way up to right about the middle of the top 10, and, well, when they come streaming into turn 1, we'll see how they go.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens going into turn 1 here. I would not be surprised if we see another safety car. Would not be surprised if there's a lot of arguing in the in-game chat. I would not be surprised if we see a big pile up into turn 1. But It will be very, very fun either way.
It certainly will. We got 1.5 minutes left to go until the session ticks over to race. Seeing some more shuffling back in the field.
Yeah, the times are really shuffling around. We've got 28 drivers who have joined the session. So 3 drivers have decided not to come back for race 2. One notable that I can see that has not returned. 2 notables I not returned. Jay Boving not come back in for race 2, and also not return. Lilac, who we saw upside down on lap 1.
Yeah, that's a real shame. Unfortunately, they both had huge incidents in race 1, and I think that's put paid to their motivation to race for the rest of the night, so they will be missed.
It does happen though, when you have a bad first race like that. You think you've done such a great job in qualifying, and then you have a bad run to start your race and your racing night. You just want to walk away, or go and drive something else altogether, or go and find some demolition derby session to go and release some energy. You definitely don't want to get yourself out there a lot of the time. So completely understandable with the race that those guys had in race 1, but racing that we had throughout that was absolutely impressive. So really looking fun. The checkered flag now out for warm-up. We'll go through the starting grid in just...
We certainly will. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The clock counts down. Then all the drivers will be booted back to their garages, from where they'll be allowed to take to the starting grid. And said starting grid is now up on screen. So Jake Maloney, on account of winning race 1, is going to start from pole. Scott Larnack in second, with Bo Albert third. Luca Jackerman in fourth. Ben Dowell, Gary Hamilton, and Dylan Shepherd in the latter reaches of the top 10, which is rounded out by Mark Dean, David Coleman, and Scott McKee.
Then we've got Griffin Gardner in 11th with Corey Ott in P12. Those guys had a really cool battle with Tim Fultz and Simon Mazzomo, 13th and 14th. So it'll be cool to watch back in the field. Javian Wood, James McKee, they changed position right at the finish line at race 1. And start in those. Dave Roberts, then Greenwood, Matthew Kidd, and Daniel Stevens ran top 20.
21st is going to be Stuart Hall, Jake Blackhall, Steve Jansen, Jamie McKnight, Andrew Stokes, George Johnson, Jared Farrell, and Jordan McDonnell are your starting grid. So, now, there's no rush to get everything done by the time the green flag flies, because now safety car is pulling away and is going to lead the field around Lime Rock Park a grand total of once before racing starts, and after racing starts, we'll probably lead them around again.
I've got a very high probability of the safety car being out once more in this race. Fingers crossed that we don't see it again, but a very high chance that we'll see the safety car out early in this race once more. But those new look TTL Porsches, the one actually... Interesting, Maloney and Larnack's cars look very similar in regards to the orange. Quick glance, you're not sure which one's which. The new orange car on the orange colour on the Porsches of Maloney and TTL looks very different from what we've seen from TTL in the past. Cool colour.
Yeah, it is a very cool colour, but yeah, it'll take a bit of getting used to people who have followed TTL for some time. Of course, they've been a fan of the mustard, more yellowy form of orange on their cars, but we'll see how the change of livery affects their results, if at all. I know we all like a fresh car to compete in.
I get fresh cars all the time because I wreck mine so much I have to make them fresh. Here we go. The pace car's about to pull in. We are ready to go for 25 minutes at Lime Rock Park. Race 2 for round 7 of Porsche Carrera Cup Australia. Green flag flies. Ooh. Great jump for the guys on the inside road. Terrible run. Oh, Ben Dowell. And Dylan Shepherd, big crash down.
Oh, huge. That's Albert. Huge. Oh my goodness. That's our leaders. Wow.
Luca Jackerman, Ben Dowell off into the grass. We'll get a replay of that very soon. Maloney has led them around. Gary Hamilton is into P2. Dylan Shepherd third. Bo Albert somehow got through that. Is in fifth position. But we will get
not without a fair whack.
a bit of damage to his car. We'll get a Cup Price Racing replay of what exactly happened there. Some sort of checkup between Dylan Shepherd and Ben Dowell at the start. There's contact between those two guys, and then Ben Dowell completely missed his braking point, took to the grass to try and avoid cleaning up as many cars as he would have otherwise. Unfortunate for Luca Jackerman and also for Bo Albert, who were involved in that. Albert's back into 5th position.
Wow, well that was quite the first lap. Well, looks like in the lower reaches of the top 10, there's some intense battling going on. Griffin Gardner facing pressure from Tim Foltz, but Mark Dean is just behind him. We'll see what he has to say about that soon enough.
Well, and the battle for the lead is well and truly on as well. I'm just seeing a car facing the wrong direction. It's Matthew Kidd. Get a quick Cup Price Racing replay. There's a fair bit of damage to his car. They're not quite sure what happened. I saw a couple of cars were involved looking at the timing. So Kidd, James McKee also there as well. Looks like Kidd's just got a bit crossed up sideways. Collected the grass. Actually, there's 44 car. Other car involved there. Dave Roberts. He rolling down the straight.
Yeah, it looks like Kidd and Roberts did a bit of synchronized power sliding out of that turn, so they both ended up...
Very easy to happen with the tyres under different conditions from what these guys would have practiced with. So, yeah, that's on there for those guys. But we'll go back to the front because it's only 0.2 of a second separating Jake Maloney and Scott Larnack.
Yep, and Larnack looking very aggressive. He's leaning on that front end like there's no tomorrow.
Gary Hamilton sticking with them. Dylan Shepherd not able to hang with these front guys. Bo Albert dropping as well with that damage it's expected. Tim Fultz and Mark Dean going at it as well. But we'll stay with the battle at the front between Maloney and Larnack and Hamilton. This is on now.
Yeah, certainly is. Those two orange cars at the front, but both from different teams. Larnack climbing all over the curbs in his pursuit of Jake Maloney.
Oh,
big slide from Larnack.
Big moment.
Managed to recover it, though. Whoa.
Here comes Hamilton.
Yeah, Hamilton will see that happening, and he'll be getting ready to attempt to pass very soon, I would think.
I think into turn 1's going to be the spot to do it.
Yeah, well, they come through the final turn. It looks like Larnack's been able to line up the circuit nicely through the last turn. Yeah, Hamilton
did it much
losing
better.
a bit of ground.
Mark Dean now gets through on Tim Fultz, and Fultz drops back in the line, so Mark Dean back up to 8th position.
Literally every car I've seen so far kicking up dust out of the final turn.
Yep. Commitment plus pretty much the whole way through the field, through that last corner. Scott McKee, James McKee, Stuart Hall, interesting battle. Stuart Hall started first race up in the top 10, got back to mid-20s, got up to 21st to start this race. He's now up into 15th position, and the top 10 is not that far up the road in front of him, and he's looking to get another move done. And Scott McKee right now, look at the run he's got here, not going to be able to do it though.
Lifted it off halfway down the straight. I think he sensed that it wasn't going to work into that turn. Look behind him though, massive train.
All aboard the Alex Greenwood train. Jared Farrell in the pits.
Alex Greenwood had a bit of a moment.
Yeah,
Jordan
McDonald.
Big
crash!
Pearson. Oh no!
So
That's
Scott McKee and Javian Wood both off at the final corner. We'll get a replay thanks to Cup Price Racing to see exactly what happened there.
Yeah, that it looks like Wood went off at the second last turn, and as he re-entered the track, excuse me.
Get that sneeze out, brother.
It was a cough, mate.
Well, either way.
Yeah, but as Wood re-entered the track, Scott McKee tried to avoid him and just lost it on the inside.
While we were watching that replay, Bo Albert's now managed to get past Dylan Shepherd.
Oh no, they made contact. Yeah, Bo Albert past Dylan Shepherd now. They come out of the final turn.
Fultz now hunting down Corey Ott, who has got past him as well. And Simon Mazzomo now involved too. These guys had a great battle in the first race. Going at it once more.
Yeah, 100%. Of course, Corey Ott with a much better looking car than he had last race
Not
at
hard,
about
though.
this time.
Oh, Stuart Hall's
Yeah.
gone off at turn 1. He's out in the
Oh,
grass.
no.
Not sure exactly what's happened there. It looks like he may have just missed his braking marker and gone wide. We'll pick up another Cut Price Racing replay. Loving these little transition videos that we've got for our new replay screens.
Yeah,
just outbroke
fantastic
himself.
stuff. Yeah, attempted the pass on Jordan McDonald and lost the rear.
Go to David Coleman and Mark Dean. This is a battle for 7th and 8th. Starting to get very, very hot. Dean looks like he's got very, very good pace. Coleman's just managed to, along with Griffin Gardner, they've just both stayed out of trouble and have moved their way up into the pointy end of the top 10, or into the middle of the top 10. Dean goes through up the inside and move done. Simon Mazzomo, Tim Phillips, both sideways coming through one. Now side by side through the second part of that corner. And it's moved done as well for Mazzomo. They're both crossed up coming in.
Yeah, Foltz just sticking to the inside, having a little bit of a look into the left-hander, but he's catching up to Mazzomo on corner entry for sure. It looks like Mazzomo has managed to pull out a little bit of a gap. Foltz losing it over the rise.
Very, very easy to do. And he's now going to have Jordan McDonald right on his tail.
Yep.
McDonald comes through. He's going to get this move done into the final corner. All sorted. Finished.
Yep. Nice and clean from both drivers, but Tim Foltz is going to lose even more positions now. This is Steve Jansen going past him now. And behind him, have a look. That's Jackerman and Blackhall.
Teammates, that won't be too much of a tough pass there. And the issue for Foltz here is exactly what we said during qualifying and during race 1. Get yourself offline, and it's almost impossible to get yourself back into the rhythm at this track, get yourself back into position. You just keep dropping spots and dropping spots and dropping spots as Jackerman now looks to get past Tim Foltz. He's going to do it probably into turn 6. He might throw it up the inside here. Thinks better of it.
Foltz covered him a little there. I had trouble telling whether Foltz's rear end got loose there. Look at Jackerman, though, trying to look up the inside into the last turn once again. They exit the final turn onto the start-finish straight. Looks like Foltz has a tiny bit of a run.
Yeah, won't be able to get it done. Go back to Bo Albert and Dylan Shepherd, though. This is 4th and 5th. The front guys have checked out. Maloney with 1.1 second gap over Larnack. Same gap back between Larnack and Hamilton. But Albert and Shepherd have let those guys go and are having their own very, very intense battle right now.
Yeah, they are. Shepherd flashing his lights at Bo Albert and really getting onto his bumper in the braking zone. Of course, braking zones very light here at Lime Rock Park. All of these flowing turns that you just need little adjustments for. Shepherd pulling out to the right-hand side of the circuit, having a really big look up the inside.
I don't think that was a look as opposed to just making sure Albert keeps checking his mirrors to try and look at where he is.
Very true.
Or if not anything more than trying to distract Albert to hopefully force him to brake late or miss the braking point coming into turn 1. Turn 1 really the only passing opportunity at this track, but go around this track so many times in a very short race. We're looking at about 30-lap race in a 25-minute time. So plenty of chances to pass, even though the lap is very, very short with only one passing opportunity.
Yeah, certainly. I think a lap at Lime Rock Park is worth about half a lap at most other circuits, so you really got to shift your way of thinking around this track.
It very much is, as you said before, it's basically a right-hand oval road course. Turn right multiple times with one little left-hand kink. Not really a kink though, is it? It's quite a long left-hand turn. Double apex.
Double apex.
Read each other's mind there, brother.
Yeah. Telepathically linked only at V8's online.
Oh, big contact between Jordan McDonald and Steve Jansen. McDonald goes around, another incident just behind Tim Foltz. Oh! McDonald's just got launched. Wow.
What on earth? Wow. How did Foltz get into that position?
It was side by side with another car. I did see that while I was looking at McDonald. We'll go to a Cut Price Racing replay and see exactly what happened to cause that from start to end.
It was contact with Andrew Stokes that sent faults.
Yep, so looking at Jordan McDonald, how he got in that position, he actually ran the outside, run wide, and Steve Jansen and he linked wheels, and around went McDonald, and then there's contact between Fultz and said Stokes, I'm fairly sure. We'll get another replay of that, because that looks like Fultz may have tried to chop down where there was no opportunity to.
Yeah, it seemed like it happened once or twice in the course of that corner, and then
Fultz had actually lost
the
it
rear.
already.
Yeah,
He'd already lost the rear and
dipped towards the inside.
Sent Jordan into space there. Bo Albert, Dylan Shepherd still going on. Go back live. Now separated by 0.3 of a second. Coming up towards the halfway point in this race. The guys at the front starting lap 14. The predictometer says 29 for this race. We are at 13.5 minutes left to go.
Yep, now it's this race is only 5 minutes longer than the last one, but you still get a sense of, well, the drivers have calmed down just a little bit. They're thinking a bit more about the long game here.
A hotter track condition than we saw in the last race, plus a longer race. Yeah, it's definitely thinking about things a little bit more logically, as opposed to 25 minutes sounds like a lot longer race than saying, oh, it's just a 20-minute race. But 5 minutes longer, it does sound like a really big difference in length of time. I think I got out what I was trying to say.
Somewhat.
Psychologically, it seems like a bigger difference than 5 minutes when you say a 20-minute to a 25-minute race.
Yes.
That's what I was trying to say.
Exactly. Very well put. James McKee versus Simon Mazzomo, I'm looking at, is another interesting battle that's going on right now.
It's a good battle. These guys have been at it for a little while now. Geez, I took a long time to get out what I was trying to say then, didn't I? McKee's looking very, very, very pacey, but he doesn't look like he's quite got the speed coming out of the final corner. So McKee looks like through the rest of the track has Mazzomo completely covered, but isn't able to get a move done because he just can't get that final corner nailed down.
Yeah, and that's a frustrating position to be in as a driver, because through the final turn at Lime Rock Park, it's so fast, there's so much compression, you have to absolutely get your line just right. And then you got the long-ish, well, relatively long run down the start-finish straight to cap it all off.
You see, just had to get off the throttle. He bounced the curb too much. And that tiny little lift of the throttle you heard from the onboard there allowed Mazzomo just enough of a gap to not have the key there get through. And now Steve Jansen's involved now too. Don't think it'll be long before Luca Jackerman will be in this one too.
Yeah, Jackerman obviously massive pace. So yeah, this now 3-car train will probably become a 4-car train soon enough. Maybe even a 5-car train if Alex Greenwood has anything to say about it.
Well, Greenwood's had pretty good pace too. He's just been involved in a couple of unlucky incidents. So we'll see him try and close up. McKee moves across to defend from Jansen, who got a great run through turn 5 and up over the hill. Through 6, they're going up into the final corner.
Yep.
10.5 minutes left on the clock now, so about 13 laps of racing or so to go. Maloney leads by 1.4 seconds. Here comes Jansen up the inside. Won't be able to do it. He's too far back. In saying that, McKee's run wide. Going to let him through? No. Tucks back into line.
Yep. Multiple lines possible through that first corner. Bo Albert versus Dylan Shepherd, meanwhile, has still not let up in the slightest. Dylan Shepherd got some massive air over the rise just then.
Shepherd actually looks like he's got pace again.
Yeah.
Like we were just saying, it's just his final corner. It looks like he's struggling a little bit too much curb. Might be a chance to get a run. No, he won't be close enough getting into one here.
The final turn at Lime Rock is one of the hardest turns to follow a car through.
Yep. Hard enough to get right by yourself, let alone following someone else. But this is the closest Shepherd has been since that move was done around about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, Albert just working the wheel nice and smoothly. Keeping his car under control.
McKee and Jansen side by side through turns 1 and 2. Jackman's there now to get involved. And he's going to look at getting past Jansen. He's going to have to do it the long way. No, he tucks back into line.
Over
Here he
under.
goes. Yep.
Yeah, he's going to stick to the right-hand side of the circuit. He won't be far up enough. Yeah, wow. Okay, that explains why. Bit of traffic.
Yep. I think he backed out of it a little early anyway, because I don't think he probably thought logically, like we were saying before, knew he wasn't quite going to be close enough or far enough up. Back out of it early. Go back to Albert and Shepherd, because Albert's now defending into turn 1 over Dylan Shepherd. Had to take the defensive line through 1. Now Shepherd putting a lot of pressure on now.
Yeah, it looks like Shepherd just fell back slightly through that slower section of the circuit.
Love listening on board coming up over the rise. You just hear the revs go through the roof as they go up over the hill. They come back down, plant the wheels back on the ground and go for it again. But you got to do that straight. If you've got the wheels a little bit turned or the car a little bit unbalanced, it'll to the fence. So it's been very, very good to see how well these guys have gone up through the hill. Been too many incidents there tonight at all. Luca Jackerman's got past James McKee, so he's now got Steve Jansen ahead to hunt down. And for the first time in around about 10 minutes of racing, the gap between Larnack and Hamilton is now under a second.
That's pretty good news for us. Means that we might be able to see a battle for second place eventuating in the last 5 minutes of this race. Looks like we're about to come up to 19 minutes of race time elapsed.
Yep, we've got 7 minutes and 30 seconds left on the clock right now. Oh, big moment for Dylan Shepherd coming out of the final corner. A little bit too much power down with those two wheels in the dirt and a little bit sideways, not able to capitalise on that great run he actually had through the final corner. Ran a little bit too wide. Got to do it all over again.
Yep, once again behind Bo Albert for another lap. Have a look at how much Shepherd gains in the mid-corner through that left-hander. Of course, with the fact that that is the only real left-hander on the circuit here at Lime Rock, you can really afford to set up the the right-hand side of your car much more aggressive as Shepherd. Oh, goodness me, off into the grass.
Yep. Got the mower spec happening right now. The tractor, Porsche tractor, which we seen videos of that iRacing released for their April Fool's joke this year.
Yes.
That's probably what he's driving right now. That was another one. Geez, well tonight, aren't I?
Nah, it's all good.
Simon Mazzomo's got a bit of trouble on his hands right now. He's got Steve Jansen and Luca Jackerman right in his rear vision mirror. This is for the last spot inside the top 10.
Yeah, oh no, might we see a double pass here? Whoa!
Late move from Jansen. And
he's going to go off. Is he? No, he's going to hold it. Wow, good job by Jansen to keep that together.
So he's managed to hold that spot. So Jansen now up to 10th. Mazzomo back to 11th. Luca Jackerman into 12th position, but he is not far off getting himself into the top 10. A couple other battles starting to heat up now too. Griffin Gardner and Mark Dean now starting to close up too. And David Coleman, Corey Ott, that battle's starting to close up again as well. So we're starting to get 3 real battles inside the top 10. 1 battle for the edge of the top 10. And second and third is closing up. Well, it's actually just spread a little bit, but that's still on as well. Maloney leads by 1.5 seconds over Larnack. Hamilton about 1 second behind Larnack. And then Albert and Shepherd, 4th and 5th. There's nothing between those guys.
Yep, and I'll tell you what, it's not just the top 10 that are having all the fun. Have a look at 17th, 18th, and 19th. George Johnson versus Stuart Hall right now. Yep. Looking like a really good battle.
So Stuart Hall trying to make his way back through the field. We know he's got pace, but just having a bit of bad luck. That one big mistake he had in this race and the unlucky first race has put him way back in the field from where he should be looking at his lap times.
Greenwood and Blackhall as well, another very close battle, 15th and 16th.
And with Stokes just up ahead too, so battles the whole way through the field as we tick into the final 5 minutes. Go to Griffin Gardner and Mark Dean, because Dean's got a run here coming down the front straight. This is the closest Dean's been on Gardner for this entire race. little bit of internet issues for Griffin Gardner just ahead as well. So that's always a little bit off-putting when you're the following car and you see a car bouncing around like that.
Yeah, and around a track like Lime Rock where, as we've said quite a few times tonight, it's pretty much a single line all the way around. You go even slightly offline, it ruins your entire run for almost the next 2 laps. So having a car acting erratically just in front of you is not something that you want.
Something's happened between Stuart Hall and George Johnson. Not quite sure, but something's happened through turn 1. Simon Mazzomo's lost out to Luke Jackerman as well. A little bit of contact between Hall and Johnson, yes. Unintentional, but there was definitely contact.
Yep.
Go back live. Go to Griffin Gardner and Mark Dean. So 6th and 7th position. Albert and Shepherd have definitely settled in their battle. Three and a half minutes left on the clock, so around about 4 laps of racing left as Jake Maloney comes through the final corner to start 20th lap. Pretty sure we'll have 4 to go.
Daniel Stevens there letting him go.
Drive from Maloney so far.
Yeah, he's done quite well, hasn't he? Stayed out of trouble, just managed the racing, and it's really paid off for him. Looks like Dean's fallen back from Gardner.
He has. Luca Jackerman has pulled away a fairly big gap back to Simon Mazzono, and he's trying to hunt down Steve Jansen. But David Coleman, Corey Ott is probably the battle to watch right at this second. Interesting for that. Stuart Hall has redressed that position. George Johnson, they're back into their battle once more, which is always good to see. I love a bit of sportsmanship like that. That no one intends to take someone out or make contact with anyone. Well, most of the time, no one intends it. So it's always good to see a bit of sportsmanship, especially back in the field like that. Doesn't really hurt you to actually redress and play a bit fair. So well done to those guys.
Yep, reminds me of when I first started online racing in Race Department's Racing Club. That sort of stuff happened all the time. Had to make sure that you redressed your position. It was always good fun having a good casual race. I guess things are
a bit better, I think.
Yeah.
Have a look at the pace that Luke got, because he's now right on the tail of Steve Jansen for that last spot inside the top 10. We've got 1 minute 40 left on the clock though. And Bo Albert is now under pressure from Dylan Shepherd. We'll go to that battle.
Yeah, we certainly will. Dylan Shepherd now really chasing down Bo Albert as they come through the final turns on their lap 27. And Shepherd's been really aggressive through these fast corners. I noticed more than a couple of times he's actually gone off at the last turn in his efforts to chase down Bo Albert for 4th position. Look at how he takes a much more direct line to the apex than Albert does.
It's a very, very different line, and also through the second part of the turn as well. They're more willing to throw it over the curbs than Albert by the looks of the way his car's set up, and that was a complete misstep through the left-hander, and Albert's going to pull away here. The leaders, Jake Maloney comes through the final corner for the second to last time. We've got 40 seconds left on the clock when he crosses the line, so this will be the final lap next time around for these guys.
Yep, and just ahead of Jake Maloney, he's got the battle between Hall and Johnson.
And they're actually going at it very, very hard as well. So Jake might nearly sit back and watch that. Actually, we'll go to another battle because Simon Mazzomo, have a look at the little bit of a battle pack behind him. James McKee, Andrew Stokes, and Jake Blackhall all involved in this little tense battle. 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th position.
Yeah, oh, have a look at McKee. What on earth went on there? Just a bit of an oversteer moment out of the final turn.
But Jake Maloney through the second to last corner for the final time. Very, very dominant drive in both races tonight. Worked his way up towards the front in race 1 and has just driven away from the field here in race 2. Picks up the win at round 7 at Lime Rock. Great drive from him. Second position will go to Scott Larnack and Gary Hamilton. Third position, but it's on between Shepherd and Albert. Who's going to get this at the end?
It's going to be Albert
Albert
as he
holds
comes
on.
across the line, flashing his lights in celebration. That was a really good battle.
Mark Dean and Griffin Gardner have finished the way that we saw them before, but has Corriott got a run here out of the final corner? He has got a bit of a run. Is he going to be able to do it?
No, I don't think so.
Not quite close enough. Great battle,
By
though.
just a car length.
Less than a tenth of a second, the official gap at the line. Mazomo holds on over Stokes McKenna. Blackhall. Going to come out on top between Johnson. Something happened between Johnson and Hall. Johnson has pulled away and Stuart Hall is tucked in behind the leaders. Something happened to Stuart Hall there on that last lap.
Looks like Hall just slowed down.
Might have nearly be out of fuel, possibly.
Yeah, that is a possibility. He looks like just coming out of the final corner, he decided to pull over and let Jake Maloney by.
Race results are on screen now. Jake Maloney does pick up the win over Scott Larnack. 1.7 seconds in the end. Great drive from him and also Larnack as well. Gary Hamilton rounds out the podium for the second race. And Bo Albert and Dylan Shepherd had a great battle for the entire 25 minutes in that one. Albert managing to hold on in the end. Griffin Gardner, Mark Dean, David Coleman, Corey Ott and Steve Jansen rounding out the top 10.
Luca Giacomin is going to come home in 11th with Simon Mazzomo in 12th. Andrew Stokes and James McKee in 13th and 14th with Jake Blackhall in 15th. Alex Greenwood, 16th. 17th is Jamie McKnight. And the top 20 is going to be rounded out by George Johnson, Stuart Hall, and Daniel Stevens.
We got Scott McKee next, then Dave Roberts, then the casualty list of Tim Fultz, Jordan McDonald, Davian Wood, Jared Farrell, Matthew Kidd, and Ben Dowler, of course, out in lap 1 in very, very interesting fashion with a big mistake going into turn 1.
Yeah, well, what a race that was.
That was absolutely intense and amazing. Thoroughly enjoyed. For an interview very soon, if you are watching the chat, if you are watching the broadcast and you're wanting to know where we are now, you for us on our TeamSpeak channel. We're no longer there. We're over on Discord. Details are in the YouTube description. So if you are looking for where we are, jump in, have a chat, hang around. Plenty of people around who love to have a chat. So if you are looking for all things fun and entertaining, always someone to have a chat with over here. Might even be us sometimes.
Is. Yeah, who knows?
If you're ever unlucky enough to chat to us.
Yeah.
It's not lucky enough. It's never be lucky. Us, we don't like it. Oh, that's it.
Nah. Yeah, I'm sure.
Give the guys a minute, but tomorrow night we'll be back on V8s Online. We'll have coverage of the V8 Super Aussie Driver Search. Wednesday night we have Formula Renault once again. So where's the info at this week?
I have absolutely no idea.
All I know is that had a very, very enjoyable time last week. Montreal, yeah, I got it out there eventually. That was good fun. Of course, Saturday we got another special event with the Australian 360 Sprint Car Championship. Next Sunday we have a night off. Woohoo! And we'll be back again the following Monday. Back into the V8 Supercar once again, but I think it looks like we've got a couple of guys jumping into the Awaiting Interview channel for a bit of a chat. So,
yeah, good idea. And just as we drag Jake in, I can confirm that Interlagos is where IMSA is next week.
But we'll go to Jake Maloney. Congratulations on a very, very good drive tonight, Jake. Dominant in both races in the end once you found yourself at the front of the field.
Yeah, it was good fun. Wasn't really expecting that. Just jumped into the qual session with 15 minutes left and really wasn't expecting much. But no, the car was really good and good fun to drive.
It was all about keeping your nose clean here at Lime Rock. We saw as evidenced by some incredible incidents in both races. So I guess once you got up the front, it was just a case of managing your race.
Yeah, it was. And yeah, especially in that race too. Had a really good sort of battle there with Scott where for about 10 minutes I don't think the gap change between us was just a good pressure battle in lap times. But yeah, really fun.
All right. Well, along with that, do we have any chance of seeing you at Sonoma on September the 3rd?
Yeah, I think I should be there. Sonoma, the Cup version, one of my favourite tracks. So always good fun to race around there.
Must be like much Jake said.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
we
we've
must
got
be
a
the only
fair,
two people that agree.
yeah, got a fair bit of it in the next few weeks anyway with Scops there, and then I think the Porsche race will be after that.
Good luck for Scott's weekend after next. Couple of weeks here, Porsche Carrera Cup Australia.
Thanks for the broadcast.
All right. I think the next person we should bring in is Scott Larnack, of course, the guy who finished in second in both races, I believe.
I'm pretty sure you're right. I'll run with that.
Well, if anyone in the broadcast chat wants to yell at me and correct me, feel free. But Scott, you might be able to correct us. Is my memory correct in serving me that you finished second in both races?
Pretty sure I did. Let me just check. I'll just go on the YouTube site and have a look.
That's all right. We'll just run with it for now. But Scott, congratulations on your double podium in a really interesting, action-packed event.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, that I struggled a little bit in the second race. I think everyone was with that heat. Track temps were 42, I think. So at the start, I had a decent start in that second race, but just got a little bit of wheel spin and Jake got away from me. So here's what it is.
Yeah, you've been doing a pretty good job, pretty consistent throughout this series. I'm guessing tonight it was all about points and maintaining that position up towards the pointy end of the championship.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, Bo and myself and Luca and a few of the guys been putting in some solid effort to try and get the team's championship. Just before I go on to, just wanted to do a shout out to Muggo. He was in a bit of an accident at Wakefield Park, so pulled out all right. So yeah, just to say, mate.
All right. Well, fantastic to hear, Scott. And yeah, we definitely hope that Muggo will be able to recover from that. Of course, I don't believe he was hurt too badly, but the car was a bit banged up. So yeah, our best wishes to Muggleton, and yeah, hopefully we see him back here soon. Well, either way, thank you very much, Scott, for joining us, and hopefully we can chat to you again next round at Sonoma.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the broadcast.
That was Scott Larnack there of Evolution Racing Team. The next person I think we should bring in, Jay, is Dylan Shepherd. And Dylan, it was a really interesting race for you. You got involved in a few elbows out incidents, but you provided some really good entertainment for the broadcast.
Yeah, race one was bloody hectic. Yeah, me and Jav coming together were completely my fault. I've apologised to him privately, but yeah, I can't be any more sorry for that. That was just dumb move from me. Yeah, so race one was just horrible for me, but race two made some setup changes just to get that understeer away. Even in the hot weather, it was going to make it even worse. So I was able to do that, and yeah, just got Bo to tow me around for the whole race, which is pretty cool. So it got me away from people behind, and I don't think I had the pace to get past him, but yeah, just had a nice clean race, and yeah, it was really enjoyable to watch him. I think I learned a few things, and yeah, it was pretty good.
We were noticing that you were actually quite quick through the middle, but you were struggling through the final corner to get yourself in a position. Is that how you felt in the car?
Oh, absolutely. Every lap, I was trying a different gear into that last corner. I'd try fifth one lap, I'd try fourth the next lap, then I'd try fifth. I was like, one of them is going to get me the run. And I just could not get the run on him the whole race. I think I got like a one, except he was smart enough to go to the inside. And yeah, there was just nothing I could do. He deserved to have the position. He definitely had the pace over me, but yeah, it was still good fun.
Well, nonetheless, with that fifth place, you've salvaged something from this event, and it'll definitely help your championship. But looking forward to the next round, September the 3rd at Sonoma. You're looking forward to that in any capacity?
Yeah, Sonoma's an amazing track, I think. Like, it doesn't get as much credit as it deserves, I think. But yeah, it should be interesting. It's a good driver and setup track. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I think we'll be there with the V8 Scop series as well. So yeah, a lot of laps will be done around there, I think.
Excellent stuff, Dylan. Well, thank you very much for joining us once again. We'll see you next round.
Righto, thanks guys. Quick shout out to Fast Karts Racing Developments and the guys at One Performance Racing.
Fantastic. Dylan Shepherd, your 5th place finisher in race 2 at Porsche Carrera Cup, Australia. The next person that we're going to bring in is Gary Hamilton. If he will unmute himself.
I don't know that we've even got him in here for a chat, so we better not ask him any questions. We'll give him a sec to see that he's in the comms box. He might not. He might be going to just have a bit of a breather after that battle that he actually had was pretty intense. So, see, we'll give him a minute. But either way, that was, here he is. He's got us now. He's realised he's in the booth. G'day, Gary. How are you, mate? Great drive in that second race. They've managed to get yourself back up to 3rd.
Yeah, g'day guys. So sorry about that. That was interesting second race, I suppose. I mean, you always struggle with the high temps like that. Little bit disappointing. I mean, compared to the cold stuff where you can really get stuck into it. As you saw, we kind of it looked like we were just following each other, I'm sure, but basically just trying not to crash pretty much.
Yeah, well, you came pretty close on lap 1. I think in both races there were lap 1, turn 1 incidents. In both races tonight. So, yeah, I guess luck might have played a bit of a part. But yeah, did you have any handle on what was going on in the first couple of turns?
Not so much in the first one. I didn't see. I think that happened behind me. Poor teammate Stewie Hall copped a few punts there, I think, in turn 1. Unfortunate for him. But race 2, definitely. I saw what happened to Ben. I saw he got a good start, maybe too good. And the rule obviously being you can't pass before the start-finish line, he realised quite late and hit the anchors. And I saw that and I thought, thanks. And I jumped in front of him. And as I did that going into turn 1, you always glance in the mirror and I saw him coming and next thing I saw him flying.
Well, Gary, nonetheless, congratulations on your very consistent results in these 2 races tonight at Lime Rock, obviously completing the podium in race 2. But Sonoma, we're moving to a track that is sort of similar to Lime Rock in that it's got massive elevation changes and a bit of a flowing layout, but it's a lot slower and there's a lot more curbs to bounce off. So, yeah, have you cast your mind forward to that yet?
I have now. Yeah, Sonoma, I love that track. I think I heard it was a Dylan saying before, a lot of people don't seem to like it for whatever reason, but I think it's fantastic. It's a really good track.
I agree.
Yeah, this car loves, you see them take the curbs, and this car's very good over the curbs. You can really use them, tactically for a good lap. So that's good. It doesn't like very high loaded front on the front, which is like coming onto the straight here. It hates that. And Sonoma has that as well. You're right. So it is kind of similar there, but overall a bit faster. I think it's going to be a very good track.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Gary. Thank you for your words. Congratulations once again on the podium, and we'll see you next round.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Hey, big shout out to Sim Bay, also a team sponsor, Dynamic Sim Racing. Darling Downs Ballistics win the day. And a new one for tonight, Muffler Kings, the local guys, if they're watching that one. Hopefully they enjoyed that. And as always, thanks to you guys. You do a fantastic job.
Thank you very much, Gary. Well, that was Gary Hamilton, your podium finisher in race 2. Well, Jay, now we cast our minds forward to Sonoma as well.
It's a big couple of weeks coming up with Sonoma coming up in Scops and also in this series. Really looking forward to go. And of course, official V8 will be there as well. We've got all sorts of really cool racing. We're off to Sonoma for a special event in a couple of weeks too, with a bit of a fun format with some drag racing as well. So if you guys are going to go out and do some drag racing, we'll bring coverage of that. Something a little bit different next week. Not this week coming, but the week after. So, but yeah, some really, really cool events coming up, mainly focused around Sonoma, which, as I've said so many times before, my favourite track.
Yes, certainly. I think it's a very good track, Sonoma. So yeah, be sure to tune in, obviously, on V8's Online to catch all the action in the next couple of weeks. We've got once again a bumper schedule for broadcasting. Be sure to follow us on Facebook. Like us, follow us on Facebook, like us on Twitter.
Either
I'm
way.
doing really well, aren't I, Jay?
If you want to subscribe to us on Twitch as well, you can do that. So that would be nice. But anyway, that's another story. Yeah, so make sure you follow us on all the social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter. Make sure you subscribe to our channel here on YouTube as well so that you keep up to date. Join the conversation. Come and jump over onto our Discord channel and come and have a chat with everyone. Lots of people around to have a chat with, heaps of channels. Post some info about and read up about what's going on in the AusNZ community. But very, very fun night of racing tonight, Reece. I'm really looking forward to our next broadcast tomorrow night for official V8 Supercars at Bathurst.
Yep, that's going to be a real bumper event. Be sure to tune in for that same time tomorrow night for that, or about 6:15 p.m. Western Australian time, 8:15 Australian Eastern time. And you'll be able to do the conversions and turn up at the right time so you can catch the action there. Well, thank you very much for joining us. We hope you can join us again at some point in the future here on V8's Online. You've been watching the Porsche Carrera Cup Australia Championship presented by Sim Racing Bay, Round 7 at Lime Rock Park. Both races won by Jake Maloney. We'll see you next time.